Hello everyone, I am Mr. Catalano and today we will be going over coping skills. So through today's lesson, we're going to learn about understanding the change in our own behavior and functions when stressed, have tools to recognize when we're feeling stressed, learn coping skills to regain control and regulate our emotions during these stressful times, learn 3 different techniques of the 5-6-7 breathing technique, the HALT technique, and the 5-4-3-2-1 technique, as well as go over some coping skills to help us from getting to that stressful point. To begin, we're going to discuss the sympathetic versus parasympathetic system. Now, those are some pretty big words, so I'm going to simplify them. This is our fight or flight system or our reasoning system. So let's start with the sympathetic system. As you can see, there is a boxer on the right. The sympathetic system is our fight or flight system. When we feel threatened, our body begins to produce more energy and hormones to prepare us to fight or flee from the new threat. So our brain function speeds up in order for us to be able to react. Now, the second thing is the parasympathetic system. This is our rest and digest system, or our reasoning state. When we are not feeling threatened or just laying around the house, this is often the system that we are using. And we are digesting our food, restoring our cells, and different things like that. The brain is at a calm state, and this allows us to reason through problems easier. So, how do we get into the sympathetic system? Well, when we begin to face different obstacles in life or different stress factors, we begin to have different changes to our body where our sympathetic system begins to take over. So these are 3 different checks that we can do to see where we are and whether or not our sympathetic system is taking over and we feel threatened. To begin, first we want to start with a breathing check. We want to ask ourselves, is my breathing out of control? Am I remembering to breathe? Or am I breathing too fast? We want to check if our breathing is starting to go, if it's not regular anymore. Second, we want to do a mind or mental check. Do I feel threatened for my stress? Is my mind racing? Am I forgetting things? Am I unable to be in the moment? Am I living in my past, future, or somewhere else? Often our mind begins to race and we realize that the stress has changed our mind to begin to have racing thoughts. Third, we want to do a body check. When entering the sympathetic system or the flight and fight response, our body begins to act in different ways. So we ask ourselves these questions. Do I feel my heart beating faster? Am I clenching or tightening my fists, my back, or my muscles? Am I shaking? Am I feeling sick, a headache, or nauseous? So let's begin with the first check. If you begin to notice that your breathing is entering the fight or flight system, this is a technique to help control our breathing. When entering a moment of extreme stress, the fight or flight system, breathing is usually the first function we lose control of. The 5-6-7 technique is a coping skill technique to help us restore our body's ability to breathe and begin to enter back into parasympathetic system of breathing with reasoning and calmness. So we're going to do this together. So put your feet flat on the ground and pay attention so that we can do this together. To begin, we're going to breathe in for 5 seconds. Ready? Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 6 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out for 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now breathe in again for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 6 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out for 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've just learned the 5-6-7 technique. By doing that, you can regulate your breathing and bring yourself back to a reasoning and calm state. I encourage you to do this when you start to notice that your breathing is getting a little bit out of control. This technique is also helpful for helping you get back to sleep. Regulating the mind, or what I call the HALT technique. When entering the sympathetic system, we may begin to feel threatened and begin to see that we're more stressed than we normally are. The HALT technique is to help us to understand maybe there are some other stressors that we can control or other stressors contributing to the reason of our threatedness. So these 4 things are, number 1, hunger, number 2, anger, number 3, loneliness, and number 4, tiredness. So if your mind's beginning to race right now, stop and think, have I not eaten? When was the last time I ate? Am I stressed because I'm really hungry? Number 2, think angry. Am I angry with someone or certain circumstances? Did something recently happen in my life that I've been kind of upset about? Is there something going on that I'm angry about that I haven't let go? Number 3, loneliness. Am I feeling extra lonely today? Am I feeling a little less supported today? Is there something that made me feel more lonely today? And number 4 is tiredness. Is my mind racing? Am I struggling because I haven't gotten enough sleep? Am I physically tired? Am I not able to think straight because I haven't slept enough? We can look at those 4 things and determine, maybe the reason I'm stressed is more than just the thing that's going on in front of me. Maybe there's some other things that I haven't taken care of that I can address later. Regulating the body. I call this the 5-4-3-2-1 senses technique. When entering the sympathetic system or fight or flight, our senses may be heightened. And our 5 senses may actually go back in time to the trauma that we faced before, or we may not use our senses because we're so focused on the future. The 5-4-3-2-1 senses technique is meant to help us return back to the present and get us back into a parasympathetic reasoning state. So, how does this technique work? Well, it uses the 5 senses. So the 5-4-3-2-1 senses technique is easy to remember. It's just counting down from 5 to 1. So to begin, we're going to start with seeing. I want you to identify right now 5 things you can see. Look at the color, the shape, the object type, and then say it out loud. For example, I'm looking at a brown desk. It's pretty hard, right? Do that now. All right, next we're going to look at touch, and we're going to identify 4 things you can feel. Now, this can be more than just things you can feel with your fingers. It may be able to be things such as feeling your heartbeat, feeling your muscles, feeling your back muscles relax, and other things like that. So, I'm going to give you some time to do that right now. I'll use an example. Right now, I'm feeling my desk. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty hard and dense, right? I'm moving my hand, which the speed of my hand is going pretty slow, and I'm speeding it up, right? I can feel the movement of my heartbeat going pretty slow and steady. Try that now. All right. Next, we're going to go on to hearing. Identify 3 things you can hear. So, sometimes there may not always be a noise we can hear. So, try to be completely quiet and listen. Is there anything you can hear? I can hear my computer trying to continue working on. I can also make noises that might help me, like tapping the desk or maybe tapping my thighs, trying to hear the sound that makes. Try that now and really focus on what you're hearing. All right, next we're going to work on smell. Identify 2 things you can smell. It's the object making the smell, maybe the air, or you can even think of a smell. So just take a big deep breath with your nose. I smell fresh air. I can kind of smell my computer too. Good thing I don't stink. All right? One thing I like to think of as a smell is I love the smell of McDonald's, so sometimes I think of the French fries, and that gives me some joy. Try that right now. Think of a smell that you really enjoyed, or just try taking a smell where you're at. All right, last is taste, or the tongue. So that one's kind of hard to do. I don't want you licking anything near you. So why don't we try to say one positive message of encouragement out loud. For example, everything's going to be all right. Things will get better. things will get better. That's one thing I'll repeat to myself because I believe things will get better. It can be a quote, a saying, a verse, a song, different things like that. Think of one positive thing you can say out loud. Try that now. All right. Now that's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, and that can be really helpful for bringing you back to reality and putting you in a reasoning, calm state. So let's talk about regulating stress before it starts. We want to learn. So first off, we can learn coping skill techniques. The 3 techniques I just showed you are example of actual coping skill techniques that you can use and are very applicable, right? You can put those into practice. Second, I would encourage you to do healthy reflection or humility. So doing things such as journaling or understanding the weaknesses of yourself can be really helpful so that when people reveal them, you know that you're already working on them and that you don't need to be offended or threatened. Empathetic focus, others focused, or serving others' needs. This is the idea of being able to put yourself in other people's shoes and understanding what other people may need. When you're less focused on what you need and can relate to other people's needs, it can be helpful for you to be able to have a common ground with other people and not feel alone when facing problems. Serving others can be really helpful too because you can feel you are sharing in the same purpose that others are sharing in. Exercise is another really important one. As you exercise, you produce endorphins and dopamine and other things that strengthen your prefrontal cortex and allow you to be better at reasoning and better able to regulate your emotions. Exercise can be something as simple as taking a walk, running, lifting weights, playing a sport, or doing something outdoors. Healthy expression through creating or skill development. I really encourage you to pick up something that you can enjoy. Singing, writing, painting, artwork, pottery, training, whether it be for a sport or chess or anything like that. Those can be really helpful skills that can help you regulate emotions, test your brain, and give you something back to go back to when you're feeling stressed. And lastly, healthy social interaction, community interaction, and fellowship. The meaning of fellowship is just simply finding other fellows who are going the same direction as you. When you find other people who share the same values as you and are going the same direction as you, they can help encourage you towards that. So I encourage you to find a community of people that you can identify with that can help encourage you towards the purpose you have in life. So let's start with the conclusion. Today we learned about the fight or flight system versus the rest and reasoning system, right? We learned about, okay, when I'm feeling threatened, how to deal with things like that versus how to get back into a non-threatened state. We learned about the breathing, mind, and body check, right? Knowing if, maybe my breathing's going, my mind's racing, my body's clenching my fists. We learned how to check those things to see if the stress that we're facing is beginning to take its toll. We learned about the 3 techniques of the use of the 5, 6, 7 breathing technique to regulate breathing, the use of the HALT technique to regulate your mind and racing thoughts, the use of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sense technique to regulate the body, and regulate stress before it starts with coping skills, such as journaling and creating skills and fellowship. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you complete the exit ticket that your teacher is giving you. Thank you so much, and you guys have a great one.